Hello, welcome to Raymond Castile's Basement of Horror. We're going to open up a box from my basement and see what's inside. If you didn't watch the first video, please go back and watch that. But to recap, I collect monster toys, and I have a basement full of monster toys. And it's a basement of horror because it looks horrible. It's a mess, and I don't want to show it on camera. So you're just going to see this little corner with the wood paneling. But I'm going to select a random box from the basement and open it up and just see what's inside, and whatever it is, we'll just talk about it. And we'll see how that goes. Here's the first box. Let's see what's in here. Okay. Well, this is interesting. All right, so first we have an LJN stripe from the movie Gremlins. And this is from 1984. Now, fortunately, we have a loose example of this toy right here. So let's talk a little bit about what is this thing. So I'm sure everyone remembers the movie Gremlins. And now there's something else in this box that I think I'll pull out so we can look at these things simultaneously. This is also a Gremlins toy, 1984. LJN, this is Gizmo. Same series, same plastic articulated action figure. Now you can see with Gizmo, for some strange reason, his eyes are gray. Now, of course, they weren't like that originally. Oh, we have a cat in here. Hi, Stinker. Hi, Stinker. Hi. I have two cats, and one of them is roaming around right now. So you might hear some meowing. He's walking around saying, "What in the heck are you doing?" Come on up, Stinker. You can come up. Come on up, Stinker. It's okay. You can come up here. Wow. Here's my Stinker. Let's make room for Stinker. Come on. Here's Stinker. Hi, Stinker. Where were we here? So we were talking about this. So you'll notice that the eyes on this are glazed over white. I don't know why that is. I don't know what's going on there, but I'm thinking it's some kind of fungus that's growing over the eyes. Sometimes with like bubble carded action figures, they'll get like a film over them, like a gray or white film. And I don't, when that happens, I don't think there's really anything you can do about it. So I don't think there's any solution for poor little Gizmo. He hasn't been out of that box, so I don't know why it's that's happened to him. Fortunately, this Stripe hasn't suffered the same fate. Let's get a little closer look at his box there. And again, here's the plastic toy. So this is a childhood toy. This actually belonged to my brother. By the time Gremlins came out, I had already stopped playing with toys. So this is my brother's childhood Stripe. Now this is a fantastic action figure when you think about it for the time. It's really well done. Very detailed, very scary. Remember the flap over the Kenner alien figure a few years before, where parents were protesting because of the alien. Now that was an R-rated movie. Gremlins was not an R-rated movie, but it was the film that really led to the PG-13 rating because it was so scary. Not scary enough for an R, but too scary for PG. And this figure kind of, it's almost too scary for kids, but not quite. And if you can look at his eyes, he's got wonderful eyes. I love the way they did his eyes. So let's see what else is in this box. All right. Well, here's something interesting. This is a Mattel Sucker Man from 1978. This is a big rubber figure. You can see the box there. It's got a picture of Sucker Man on the back. Then on the front, let's see if we can get that. It's got a picture of a boy throwing Sucker Man. And that's pretty much what you did with him. You threw him at things. Now I had a Sucker Man, green one just like this, when I was a kid. And sure enough, that's how we played with him. We threw him at refrigerator doors, windows. In fact, I think in the commercial, it even shows a kid throwing Sucker Man at a window or a glass. I don't know if it's a window or a door, but it's glass. I'm sure it shows him throwing it against a window. And that toy's so heavy, I can just imagine if you really threw him against a window, which we did a couple times. Thank goodness it didn't break anything, but my goodness, it would be so easy to just throw it and break the window. I remember the commercial had a little jingle, Sucker Man. And whenever we played with it, we would say that, Sucker Man, and throw him and watch him splat and stick to something. He was a fun toy, and like all of our toys, he had his own personality. And as I recall, I always thought of Sucker Man living in a swamp or something. He would be like under water or under the mud, and I would always make him kind of make a sound like, and he had to like pinch your arms, and his arms would come up kind of shaking, and he'd rise up out of the swamp, and he'd attack another action figure and wrap himself around, and the suckers would stick to each other, and he'd have the action figure in his grip like an octopus and try to drag him down to the muck. So in our game, Sucker Man didn't really have a lot of intelligence. He wasn't like a superhero or anything, which I think is maybe what the marketing was trying to go for, was like some kind of superhero. In our game, Sucker Man was just a monster. He was just like a creature from the swamp that went and wrapped itself around other toys and tried to drag them to their deaths. But he was a fun toy to play with. He worked better when he was wet, because he would get dirty really easily, and then his suckers would be, they wouldn't stick very well. So let's see what else is in here. Ah! Oh, this is cool. This is a Grigory by Mattel. This was made in 1979. And this is, well, look at that, he's upside down. Am I going to edit that out? No. There he is. Now you can see him. It's a Grigory from 1979. And he's basically a big rubber vampire bat. Now, they made small rubber vampire bats, just flap around on a string. But this is a big vampire bat, big and heavy. And when you pumped on his back, his blood would move through. You had like a see-through cavity in its chest, and you could see the blood pumping. And when you moved him, his wings would flap. There wasn't articulate or anything. It was just like the weight of the rubber material made it flap. And he had little holes in his feet, hang upside down. And you know, if I may take a break for a second, I think I have a loose Grigory in this basement somewhere. I'm going to have to dig him up. So I'll be back in just a minute. I'm back, and look what I found. This is my childhood Grigory. You can see how he flaps like that. I remember I used to kind of maneuver him like he was about to land on some prey, and so he'd kind of hover like that, and he'd kind of slowly settle on the prey and do his little thing. He's got little soft fangs. They don't stick out very far. He's got cute little fangs. And he has the see-through chest cavity. But all that blood has since dried up, so I can't pump him and make it work anymore. But you can kind of imagine how it worked. This used to be more of a light pink color, the plastic in there, and then you couldn't see all that blood. It was in a reservoir, and you pump it, then it would squirt out and kind of drizzle down and go back into the reservoir, and you pump it some more, then it'd come back to the top and squirt out again. It wouldn't squirt out of the toy, it would squirt out inside this chamber. And you can see how he hangs upside down like I was talking about. He's got little holes in his feet there. And he hangs upside down. He's cute. So this is what's inside this box. And for some reason they printed this thing where the front is right side up. Well, I mean, the front is facing this way, and the back is the opposite, I'm guessing. Now, you'd think, well, it's a vampire bat, it's hanging upside down. But the text is upside down as well. Let's see if you can see that. I don't know if that camera, I don't know if this camera is in focus or not. Can't tell. See what this says. Grigory, big bad vampire bat creature. For best results, hold him up, because the blood won't drizzle down if you hold him upside down. I don't know if you can see it, but on that side panel, it talks about shake him and his wings flap. Press his back, see blood flow in chest. Hang him upside down. Grigory, big bad vampire bat. He's the bat you love to hate. Press his back, see blood flow in chest. shake him and his wings flap. It's got all this blood all over, dripping down. Got a haunted castle right there. So this is a cool toy. Mattel made lots of cool toys like this in the late 70s, early 80s. Like, gosh, Crusher, which is a toy you could squish flat and come back up. Oh my goodness. I think they made Pulsar, who has a chest very much like Grigory. And later they made the Boglins in the late 80s. A lot of weird toys. Mattel just made a lot of strange toys. He's getting a little sticky right here. That concerns me. I think his syrup might be leaking out. I don't like that. Don't leak, Grigory. Can't have that. Kind of reminds me of stretch toys, like Stretch Monster, where the syrup would leak out. Well, anyway, that's Grigory. So that's the end of that box. It's empty now. Nothing in there except dust. Now, I have a loose Sucker Man too, but when I looked for Grigory, I looked for him too, and I couldn't find him. He's around here somewhere. But I think you get a good, you can see what he looks like. Oh gosh, look at that light. Get a good look at him there. And he's Mattel as well, is what I'm saying. Mattel made these weird toys in the late 70s, early 80s. They just made some weird, unusual toys. They weren't exactly action figures. They weren't games. They were all made of this kind of odd PVC material, like this soft PVC. It wasn't rubber, it wasn't plastic. And they kind of shape-shifted, or blood pumped out of them, or something weird happened. It was, I'd like to see a documentary just about oddball Mattel toys of the 70s and 80s, because they made, everyone thinks of Barbie, but Mattel made and He-Man, but Mattel made a lot of bizarre monster toys that just stuff like no one else was making at the time. From from Sucker Man, Grigory, through the Boglins. I think there was like a decade there of just weird toys from Mattel. So I'm interested in those bizarre Mattel toys, and I wish someone would do a authoritative documentary or book or something about them. And we saw this awesome striped figure. Terrific action figure. He moves, he's got articulation, made by LJN. He's got this cool little mohawk hairdo. And then we saw the unfortunate, oh well, there's a stripe in his box. Then we saw the unfortunate blind Gizmo with the fungus growing on his eyeballs. One of these days I'll buy a replacement for this without the fungus. So that brings us to a close. Kind of random and rambling, but that's sort of what I'm going for. I like not knowing like the dates of everything off the top of my head, and not really know what I'm going to say, and having a cat come up here and not being prepared, like here's the box one, here's the loose one. I don't want it prepared. I want to just sort of, oh, what's this, and just go with it. So that might not appeal to everybody, but I want this to be the opposite of the Topstone series, which is very planned and controlled and very much like a documentary. This is just sort of, hey, here's some toys. So that maybe that appeals to you, maybe that doesn't, but it appeals to me. So I hope it appeals to somebody out there. That's it for this episode of Basement of Horror, and I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.